All right. Welcome everyone to the Year of the Bird. Obviously, me and Charlie, we both love birds. I love magpies. He loves cockerels. But yeah, obviously it's episode 2 of the Year of the Bird sort of podcast, or whatever we want to call it, show. But yeah, before we get started, please do hit the like button on the stream. Subscribe to both channels. It's dual stream on both my channel and Charlie's channel as well. And yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Seems like it's going to be a potential long show. But yeah, obviously get your chats in the live chat, and we'll obviously talk about whatever. But first, let's introduce obviously Charlie. How are you?
All good, all good. First of all, that first part of what you said, that is definitely not me. I like cockerels, not the other thing. Not that. But anyway, I'm all good. Look, happy to be back on the show, episode 2. Quite a bit to talk about today, like you said. Obviously, for the topics, obviously the games last week, a lot happened. The Champions League draws, a couple of transfers we're going to talk about as well. One that's definitely made me feel a lot better than I was the last show. And of course the weekend games that we're going to preview as well. So if you're watching on either channel, please subscribe to both, like both streams, get all your thoughts in the live chat and the comment section on playback as well. So yeah, look, let's get into it. I'm looking forward to this show. So yeah, big up everyone watching, big up 10 every single time.
Yeah, obviously a lot to talk about. But we might as well start with a little bit of the minor stuff. Actually not minor, because I do have the trophy of it. The Carabao Cup draw actually happened the other day. Newcastle United, we got Bradford City. As for Tottenham, they are hosting, I believe, against Harry Styles.
Doncaster. Yeah, no, thanks for bringing that up, because I completely forgot about the Carabao Cup draw. Yeah, look, usually, and there's not too much to say really. It's the third round of the Carabao Cup. Obviously, Newcastle, the holders of the Carabao Cup, big up Anthony as well every single time. So obviously, Newcastle will be looking to retain their title. Spurs, we'll see how Thomas Frank does in the Cups. I'm yet to kind of know what that's like. Obviously, look, at Brentford, he's never going to win a cup. So we'll see what he's like in Cups, if he plays a strong team, if he kind of rotates or not. I'd like to see him go strong. I want to try and win every possible trophy. But look, it's a home draw for once. We usually get drawn away to some Premier League side. So it's nice for a change. Look, hopefully for both of us, it's Bradford and Doncaster, both League One clubs at home. Should be a walk in the park, but obviously we saw Grimsby So you never know. And they're in League Two.
I'm happy we didn't get Grimsby. I'll be honest.
Yeah, me too. Look, that was their Colchester moment. I mean, we got knocked out to Colchester before, so you just never know. But yeah, look, both of us are at home. I doubt there'll be too many issues, hopefully. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, both of those games will be played on the last week of September, so 1 month from now, because we got some Champions League games coming in the week before. So we might as well talk about the Champions League. First Champions League draw happened yesterday. Obviously, me and Charlie, along with a few others, mainly dual streamed by Liam.
Yeah, big up to the Barn View. Subscribe.
Yeah, and obviously both of us have it on our channel, so we won't go super in depth about it. We'll probably do a Champions League very specific draw, probably in 2 weeks or whatever, when the Champions League one that we know our schedule. Because as far as I know, I don't know when do we play certain teams and which days and all that. But we might as well start talking about who we got. For Newcastle United, the following teams we have are Barcelona at home, Paris Saint-Germain away, Benfica at home, Bayer Leverkusen away, PSV Eindhoven home, Marseille away, Athletic Club at home, and Union Saint-Gilloise away. So those are our games. My initial thoughts of that draw. Obviously, I'm very excited, especially with that Barcelona game at St. James's. I kind of wish, we have two Spanish teams at home. I wish one of them was away, but oh well. But I am looking forward to that Barcelona home game. Obviously, if we actually do have a history against every single team. We have played them at least at some point when we were in Europe, apart from Union Saint-Gilloise. Barcelona, obviously the famous one being the Tino Asprilla hat trick. So look, if it's not Isak, that's going to be our Tino Asprilla. Well, we'll talk about the striker that has come in for Newcastle. PSG away, we were, you could say, robbed the penalty. Livramento was the one being called of that handball, and obviously we drew 1-1, but we probably should have won that game. But we are away at Paris Saint-Germain. Benfica at home, you could call it the Strasbourg Steve Derby,
Yep.
But we do have not the greatest record against Benfica, but I think also I would probably say that there's the draw. Yeah, Benfica at home. I do think it'll be tough. I would say not the super best record against them, but I remember we played them in a preseason friendly, like 2-3 years ago, and it was away at Benfica, and we lost, I think 3-2, 3-1, something like that. But obviously, preseason is different from a Champions League night. Leverkusen, believe it or not, we've played them twice in the Champions League before, and we won both games, home and away, 3-1. So we do have Leverkusen's number. So, we are up against, if he is still there, Erik Sevenhaag is the manager of Bayer Leverkusen. So you would think we probably, with our, history with Leverkusen, that we should beat them. PSV Eindhoven, we do have a history with as well. We did beat them a few years back, almost 20 years ago. But yeah, we have played them before. Marseille, obviously 2005, I believe, or 2000. I think it was 2005 or 2006, whichever one. UEFA Cup, which was the Europa League, we played Marseille home and away in the semi-final. Drew 0-0 at home, lost 2-0 because of Didier Drogba before he went to Chelsea. So obviously, Marseille, we do have a history there, but we are away at their ground. Athletic Club, we played them back in the 90s. We beat them 3-2 at home, and we are hosting them at home. We lost 1-0 in the away game in the UEFA Cup, and we got knocked out on away goals, so maybe a little bit of revenge there. And Union Saint-Gilloise, we are not going to be playing in their stadium, but we will be in Brussels. We will be at the Lotto Park in Anderlecht, which is the home of Anderlecht. But yeah, we're playing Union Saint-Gilloise um, in our away game. So in terms of travel for Newcastle, I think it's probably
you got some. You're not going to Kairat Almaty.
Yeah, like we have one of the easiest away trips. We're going to France twice. We are going to Belgium, and we're going to Germany. In terms of travel for Newcastle,
it's good. I mean, to be fair, with this draw, right? Look, obviously you got Barcelona at home. That's obviously sort of the glamorous fixture for you guys. Look, St. James's Park is going to be incredible. I can imagine. PSG away, look, you guys have history there. Like I'll be honest, I think they're going to want revenge on you guys for what happened. For the 4-1 and everything. It's not the easiest draw, if I'm being honest. It's definitely tough in the sense that you look at it, one of your pot 4 teams was Athletic Club, albeit at home. You got Marseille from pot 3 away. That's not the easiest. And look, Benfica, look, Leverkusen. So it's one of those where it could have been worse, could have been a bit better maybe. But I think that Newcastle, as long as you guys, can get some more signings in, which we'll talk about, I think you have a very good chance of getting out the group, to be honest. I think I'm looking at these games. PSV at home you'll beat. I reckon Benfica at home you'll beat as well. Union SG you'll beat, I think, away. And look, if you can get a couple of draws, maybe against PSG, if you can maybe get a draw there, if you can get a draw at Marseille, Barcelona, look, we'll see what happens. I reckon if you win those games that I mentioned, that will probably be enough to at least get you upper end of the playoffs, maybe even in the top 8. So, I think, look, if Newcastle, if they kind of go about it in the right way, I think that it's a draw that they can definitely get in the top 8 with. I believe. So we'll see though. But look, those are some tough games, especially some of those away games, some difficult ones. So we'll see. Obviously, look, Barcelona. That's we talked about on the stream yesterday. Dan Burn against Lamine Yamal is gonna be generational.
Like, I'll be honest to anyone watching. I'll be honest. If we lose all the games, but if we win one game, I want it to be Barcelona.
Barca at home. Maybe that will be your big night because we were talking. Look, Newcastle had a big night against PSG before. Maybe this year it will be Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean, at least we have that history there. Obviously, I know some Barcelona fans personally, and obviously on YouTube and all that sort of stuff. So I cannot wait to rub it in their faces if we actually beat them. Let me just sort this one out. There. All right. So in terms of my predictions, I guess my points tally, Barcelona at home. Why not 3 points? 3 points
straight away. Imagine that's your first game. Obviously, we'll probably find out tomorrow or something.
Or even later tonight. Who knows?
Or what order it is. But imagine that's the first one.
I hope so. And then PSG away. I think we lose, unfortunately. Benfica at home. Maybe this is the game we kind of stumble and lose. So I'm going 0 points. So, and then Bayer Leverkusen, Erik Sevenhag. I'm going with a draw. Why not? I guess. So that means it's 4 points so far in the 4 games. But I think it gets a little bit better. I think we beat PSV Eindhoven. So that's now 7 points. Marseille away. I think we could silence their crowd. I'm saying a draw. So that's 8 points. Athletic Club at home. I think home advantage might do us a lot of favors. So I'm going with 3 points. So I'm saying we beat both Spanish teams at home. And then that's 11 points. And then Union Saint-Gilloise away. I'm saying 3 points. So I am projecting 14 points, which I do not think will be enough for the top 8. But it will be enough for.
It will be upper. It will be the upper end. It will be like the top half of the top 24.
Yeah,
basically.
And big up to Edward Football Predictions. Big up Charlie. I just commented on your Game Week 3.
Oh, big up. I'll have a look at that after the show.
And we need revenge on VAR SG, which was like the fact that
VAR SG.
we got
Oh, man.
PSG, USG, PSV as our draws and all that. But that's what I'm projecting. 14 points. I think super bare minimum. I think 10 points, 3 wins and a draw. I do think last season you needed 11 points to get the top 24. You needed 16 points to get the top 8. I think this season, I think will be a little bit more.
I mean, it's kind of a rough estimate, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
it's between 16 and 19 points you'll need for the top 8.
I'm thinking it'll be minimum 17. I think 17 is the new top 8 at least, or have a chance. And then in terms of top 24, I think 9 points is the bare minimum you need.
Yeah.
So that's 3 wins basically, and just
look. I've said all along that I don't think either of our teams are in danger of not minimum being in the playoffs. I think because in the UCL, look, you're playing 8 teams. Some of those games are going to be winnable.
Yeah,
you're not going to get like what you guys had a few years ago, where it was Milan, Dortmund, PSG. You don't really get that much anymore.
Yeah.
So because there's just more games to play. But
I think also we have some favorable home games as well compared to last time. Because obviously, apart from PSG, we had Dortmund, obviously, big team, and AC Milan, big team. This time, apart from Barca, Benfica, PSV, Athletic Club. When you think about it,
I think they're all winnable games.
Apart
from Barcelona, they're all games that I would think Newcastle are probably favourites.
If we're up for it, I think we could get all 3 points in all of the games. I think last season, the season we were in the Champions League, our home games, 3 points out of 9 possible home game points. So I think we have to improve on that record and all that. I think it's kind of why I think this season for us, I don't think we'll get top 8, but I think we get top 24. I think that's the super bare minimum. And I do think out of all 4 competitions we're in, I think the Champions League is the one I think we're taking the most serious. We took the league seriously when we qualified for the Champions League last season. We eventually got the Carabao Cup being the serious competition. And then this time, I think it will be the Champions League. I think we'll be a lot more up for it. Whether that affects our Premier League, we'll have to see. Obviously, it depends on injuries. Hopefully not like last time. But I do think overall, I'm happy with the draw, and I cannot wait to find out when we play Barcelona at home. That's the one I
really hope that's the first game, because it will be like kind of your return to the Champions League.
Oh yeah.
Straight away with Barca at home that'd be great. I'd love to see it personally. But obviously we got our draw as well. Definitely, like we discussed it on Liam's show yesterday. Big up to Liam. Definitely a draw that for me, it probably went as well as I could have imagined, in the sense you look at this, right? Obviously from pot 1, we got Dortmund at home. Dortmund, who we have a very good record against. We haven't played them since 2019, but the last, I think, 4 times we've played them, we've got 4 wins, all under Poch, of course. Beat them 4-0 on aggregate when we got to the final in 2019. PSG away, look, this is obviously the hardest game by far. Met them in the Super Cup. Look, to be fair, obviously, look, PSG, it's a game where I don't really have any expectations of us, because we're talking about PSG here. But if we can put up a performance that we did in the Super Cup, then maybe we can at least get something. I don't know. For me, I'm not looking at PSG. I'm not looking at PSG away as the game where that's going to decide if we go through or not go through. The games I'm looking at are the others. For example, you look Villarreal at home. Look, I'll say this though about Villarreal. Obviously, on paper, you look at this draw, and I'll get some of the other teams in a minute. But you look at on paper, you're like, that's favourable, and it is compared to what we could have got. It's definitely a favourable draw. But I will say this, though. Villarreal, do not underestimate them, because they play some under Marcelino. Obviously, Tem will know as a La Liga watcher. They're top right now. They score a lot of goals. They play some great football. And if we're not careful, that's a team. That's a banana skin.
Yeah.
Villarreal. Yeah. So I think, yes, if we turn up, if we play at our best, can we beat Villarreal? Yes. But at the same time, that's a team that could easily get something off us. So Villarreal. But then I look at the rest. Frankfurt, of course, we got a rematch from last season on our way to the Europa League trophy. Frankfurt, again, it feels like we play them every year. In like the last 3 times we've been in Europe, we faced Eintracht Frankfurt, and this is
won all of them, or like
we won 1-2, drew 2. So we drew. Yeah, we haven't lost to Frankfurt
this year.
Yeah, since we've played them in recent years anyway. I can't remember. We might have played them once before, like a long time ago. But Frankfurt is a team that we typically do well against them in the last couple of years or so. Obviously, definitely a difficult away game to say. Never look, I'm not going to underestimate Frankfurt. Even when we won there last year, it was a very difficult game and we kind of rode our luck towards the end. So Frankfurt is tough, but I do think it's a game that, look, we've proven we can win against Frankfurt last year. So I think that it's a game that we should feel that is winnable. Slavia Prague at home, I think, look, Slavia Prague, it's, I would say, a kind fixture at home. That's a game that I would expect 3 points from. Bodo Glimt, another rematch. Bodo Glimt, we're going back to Bodo, people. Look, another game where I have great memories from, of course, the semi-final away second leg where we confirmed our place in Bilbao. Look, again, another team that, look, we've proven we can beat. Bodo, we had their number last season, didn't we? But ultimately, Bodo at home have surprised some really good teams. And on their day, they can definitely turn up. And again, that's another game. Look, with the plastic pitch, with the small stadium, and probably it's probably going to be snowing or something. Knowing our luck, they'll probably put that game in January, the Bodo Glimt game, where it's like -20 or something. But look, Bodo, good team on their ground. But I think, again, that's a game that I think is winnable. Like I said, we proved it last year. But like I said, Bodo's the type of team where if we are complacent and we underestimate them, again, kind of like Villarreal, a banana skin. Copenhagen at home, that's a game where I think that is pretty winnable. That's one where, again, at home, I expect us to win that. And then Monaco away, look, not the easiest, but again, I think a winnable game in the sense that on our day, that is a game we can definitely win. But again, it's about not underestimating. Monaco have got some good players. Akliouche, who we've actually been linked with signing. You've got the one and only Eric Dyer coming up against us. So that'll be interesting. And look, Wilfred Singo in their defense as well. Monaco are a decent team. Probably for me, like besides PSG, maybe the best team in France. So, or Marseille, maybe one of them, one of Monaco or Marseille, one of them. But overall, look, the reality is the draw in the Champions League will never be easy. Like, it's impossible to get a quote-unquote easy draw in the Champions League. But like I said, there's a lot of games there that are winnable, I think, if we turn up. And I think that there's a realistic expectation for us to get into the top 8, I think. Looking at that draw, because before the draw, I was thinking, look, I'm fully expecting us to be in the playoffs. I can't really see us getting in the top 8. But I look at that draw. Tough games, but I think top 8 is doable. Looking at that draw. I'm not saying we're definitely going to do it, but it's definitely doable. And I think on paper, obviously football's not played on paper, but on paper, I think we should be able to get enough points from that draw to get in the top 8. So overall, look, some difficult games in there. We got a couple of rematches from last season, which is nice, of course. Some good memories, but hopefully we can get the same results against those teams. And hopefully, look, we got some teams in there we've never faced. Copenhagen, I don't think we've ever faced. Slavia Prague, I don't think we've faced. PSG, of course, we faced once now in the Super Cup, so this will be the second time. Villarreal, we've never faced them. So that Villarreal will be a first for us when we play them. So overall, for me, happy with the draw. Could have been a lot worse. But regardless, we still have to be on it. We still have to not be complacent or kind of underestimate these teams to qualify, which as long as we don't do that, I think we have a good chance of qualifying. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. And just one more thing on our draw. Notice something in this draw. Frankfurt, Bodo Glimt, right? Notice that. Also notice, I know we didn't draw these teams, but notice Carabao, Galatasaray. Well, do you know what the pattern here with this is? We played all of these teams in the Europa League, and all of these rival fans kept saying, oh, you only won the Europa League because you got an easy draw. You played crap teams. You played rubbish teams. Well, guess what? Half the teams we played are in the Champions League this season. So what we were told when we won the Europa League, oh, you won't face teams like Bodo Glimt in the Champions League. Well, guess what? We're playing Bodo Glimt in the Champions League.
Yeah.
So it just proves all of those haters are in the mud for trying to downplay our trophy last season. Half these teams are in the Champions League. So even Carabao, who were probably the worst team we played, they're in the Champions League. Like, do you see what? Like, this is what I'm saying. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the draw. A decent draw.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can get through. So there you go. And big up to Mr. Moon. Yes, we will come to that. We will be talking. We will be talking about some signings very soon.
Good
so
signings.
big up to you. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on both Newcastle's and Spurs Champions League draws in the chat. But I guess next up we can talk about the games from the weekend. Next up, of course.
One last thing on Tottenham's Champions League.
Yeah.
How many points are you projecting? And is it top 8?
So, if I had to do predictions now, Dortmund at home, I think will win. We seem to have a good record against them. Dortmund at home, I think will win. PSG away, I think we lose, to be honest. Villarreal at home. Look, this is a team I don't underestimate. I think we might draw. I think we might draw Villarreal. I think we'll beat Frankfurt away. I think we'll beat them away, hopefully. Slavia Prague at home, has to be a win. Bodo Glimt, I think just will win. Copenhagen, I think will win.
16 points.
And Monaco, I reckon a win as well. Monaco.
19.
So that's kind of my just early predictions for us. So how many would that be?
19 points, which
19.
From last season would be enough to get top 8. And I'll be honest, I do think Tottenham will get top 8. And then once the round of 16 starts, whoever you play, you bottle it.
We don't look 10. That expired. That expired straight after the 21st of May.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
but yeah, I'll know. So we might as well start with the games from the weekend. I guess maybe we'll start with probably the bigger. Well, actually, both games were big, but let's start with my heartbreak, a teenage dream. Obviously, I was on a Strasbourg Steve live watch along with a few other people and all that. But obviously, me and Steve were the only Newcastle fans on it. And you would say the duality of man. You know, you saw me just being a little bit, like I've seen this story before. Well, Strasbourg Steve, he was, like.
To be fair, he'll be happy about Strasbourg. They qualified.
Yeah, and guess what? I saw Strasbourg got Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, yep.
Is Newcastle even going to get out of the groups? Yeah. The thing is that we'll actually talk about transfers in a bit. But with us, with Newcastle and Liverpool, the game on Monday night, I expected us to lose. I said we lose 2-1, I think. But I did say last minute winner. I just didn't say the correct name. But Ekitike did score, and we did lose in the last minute. I told you, Charlie. I told you. I've seen this.
You called it
so many times. Like, that's why I wasn't as Strasbourg Steve. If anyone watches his stream with me and a few others, and all that, I was just like, I've seen like, what do you call this? Seeing this with Fabio Carvalho, which was the time we.
Darwizzy
was, and this time it's Rio. This time around.
Rio.
So
Angamoa, I think. Yeah.
No worries. I mean, it would be funny. We get the harder draw and all that, but we somehow make it further. But yeah, with the game, I'll be honest. I would say the first half, I would say we were I think both halves of football, we were the better team. But as usually is in football, you have to be clinical. Obviously, the first goal was from Ryan Gravenberch. I think that's what you say.
Completely against the run of play, by the way.
Yeah, but
completely
really
from nothing.
Actually hit the post somewhat on the way in, and it got Liverpool the lead in like the 40th minute, I believe. But that wasn't really the big talking point in that first half. It was Anthony Gordon getting a straight red card for his challenge on Virgil van Disneyland, or Virgil van Dijk, as most people would say. Do I think it was a red? Perhaps so. Harsh yellow, but probably a red. And who knows? Maybe that was the him getting sent off was probably what forced us to sign someone, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, Anthony Gordon was sent off just before halftime. And at halftime, it was 1-0 to Liverpool. But of course, we could have regrouped and all, try to draw the game level when the second half began. And then literally a minute into the second half, the guy that we could have signed, Hugo Ekitike, I did say he will score against us. Hugo Ekitike, 2-0 in the 46th minute, 1 minute in. And I wasn't surprised, though I was surprised we conceded in 1 minute of that second half. But yeah, it wasn't looking good. 2-0 down against Liverpool.
Down to 10 men.
Down to 10 men as well.
I mean, what did you make of the Gordon red card?
Yeah, I think it was a harsh yellow, but I could see why it was a red.
It's for me, this Gordon red card, it was the most unnecessary thing ever. Because I understand that he's trying to win the ball. He's trying to press, which I thought you guys did press quite well in the first half, in that kind of first half an hour of the game or so. But it's a minute before half time. Gordon's the only one pressing at that point. He doesn't need to go and do that. It's just such a needless red card. And now not only did he miss the rest of that game, but he's going to be suspended now. So it was just needless, to be honest, for me. And obviously you had a mountain to climb at halftime.
Yeah. And then obviously just after halftime when we were 2-0 down, and obviously Gordon will be suspended for the next 3 Premier League games, which is, we'll talk about Leeds United away this coming weekend. And then after the international break, we play Wolves at home and Bournemouth away, I think. So he's missing those 3 teams, which, not the end of the world. It's not like we're playing Man City, Liverpool again, and Arsenal. Gordon does come back for the Arsenal game in terms of
perfect timing.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of coincidence. But yeah, I'll be honest. When Ekitike scored, made it 2-0. I mean, I did predict us to lose. It did end up being that way, but we still showed fight, and
you did a lot of fight.
And then
I thought, to be honest, you outplayed Liverpool with 10 men. If I'm being honest,
which I mean, I wasn't surprised really. I think if we had a striker in that second half, who knows? But the captain, Bruno, has scored our first Premier League goal of the season. Just like how I believe Richarlison scored your first goal a couple of weeks ago.
Yep, first, yep.
Both of our teams got Brazilians scoring our first Premier League goal of the season, because we drew 0-0 with Villa. But yeah, Bruno got the goal, headed in. I think it was Kirkes who those Liverpool new signings.
Look, we have to say it. Look, I know it's only been 2 games, so I wouldn't write them off just yet. I still think they're all very good players. But when we talk about Wirtz and Kirkes in particular, I haven't seen... I mean, Wirtz, he's clearly still adjusting to the intensity of the Premier League because it's obviously a lot different to the Bundesliga. I think Wirtz is a quality player, and I think he will adapt. But like I predicted at the start of the season, I think it will take a bit of time for these players, new Liverpool players, to kind of gel and get into the swing of things. It's exactly what I thought might happen, and we're seeing it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it will take time for them to adjust. But in terms of Newcastle, when we got to 2-1, Bruno leaping over Kirkes to win that header, and it got in. You can see the crowd riling up. You saw Strasbourg Steve, yes, and all that. And I was like, let's see.
And you were calm on that watch.
Yeah, I was like, we'll see. Continued on pressing, got a lot of chances before we scored that second goal, which Will Osula came on to score the equalizing goal in that game, basically just around the 90th minute. And it was a really good, you could say, toe poke just under the goalkeeper Alisson to make it 2-2. But Liverpool had a substitution. up their sleeve. Rio came on. Rio Negomoha, I think that's it.
16 years old. 16
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
Sucker punch.
He
Sucker
came
punch
on,
goal.
and then in the 110th minute, because obviously the referees will obviously give Liverpool.
Well, there was a lot of injuries. Like Tonali had a shoulder thing, and there was
Joe Linton.
So there was a lot. There was a big stoppage during the second half. But yeah, they added on a lot.
And then obviously last minute, basically, 100th minute, basically, Rio scored 3-2 Liverpool. Of course, I was devastated, but I was like, I've seen this this is like third time. I'm like,
so you kind of mentally prepared yourself for it.
Yeah, I was already prepared. Like I've seen
because you learned from, obviously, guys. If you haven't already, go and check out the Darwin Núñez watch along on Ten's channel. It's one of his most popular streams. It's when obviously Núñez scored twice in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I think he's learned from that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And coincidentally, the Fabio Carvalho, the Darwin Núñez, and obviously now the Rio one all happened in late August. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing.
The Premier League wants to do that, but performance-wise, good, but just sometimes the quality not there. Obviously, more upfront, because I think we could do Liverpool's number eventually.
You've done them in the Carabao Cup final.
Yeah, which
you haven't beaten them in the league for a long time, though. It's about time.
It will be 10 years. But at least we beat them in the cup, so I'm not too fussed as well about losing to Liverpool, because we did beat them when it mattered. Like I wouldn't mind that, and that happened. But yeah, obviously, some very a tough loss, obviously, and in a way, the only positive would be like, if we could do this against 10 men with 10 men against Liverpool, and you saw that game against Villa we talked about in the last show, 0-0. Had we had a striker, people would say we could have maybe.
I think it's the same story. Unfortunately, look, we discussed the whole Isak thing last week, but unfortunately, this was another game where Isak has let his club down.
Yeah.
Because by him trying to force this move to Liverpool, which is why there was always going to be this heat going into the game, which we talked about. By him doing that, clearly, without Newcastle, this is the thing, they don't even have a back. I know we're going to talk about some transfer news in a bit, but in this game, they didn't have any other striker. They're playing Gordon up front. Obviously, Osula, I know he came on and scored, but Osula, he's never really got much game time at Newcastle. And I think that Isak probably has a lot to answer for, because I think if you look at Newcastle, like I said, Newcastle I thought were very unlucky on the day. I thought that you guys, the most impressive thing for me was with 10 men, I thought you guys were I think the problem was, again, and this comes to the lack of striker, without really making Alisson make too many saves, you were putting Liverpool under pressure. You were pinning them back. You were physically getting the better of them. And I think that's the thing that surprised me with 10 men. I mean, when Ekitike scored, I'll be honest, I thought it was done. Look, Newcastle, I don't know if they had anything left in them. Obviously, look, I felt for you guys because the whole Ekitike drama in the summer with you guys wanting him, it was kind of written for him to score, unfortunately. Yeah, and obviously he did. But your fight was great, and that's the positive for me. But ultimately, like I was saying, it is 1 point from 6 games.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, I know it's very easy to say, but I'm just basing it off what I see. But a lot of it is down to Isak. Because Isak, if you go and watch, if anyone watching, go back and watch both of those games. If Isak was there, he's bagging at least 1 or 2 goals in both games. Because he would have been in the positions where you saw the ball come in, nobody there, time and time again. He would have taken chances that maybe other players wouldn't take, in it, like we saw in both of those games. So if Isak was there, I really believe he would have made all the difference. So in my head, I'm thinking you can't really look at kind of Eddie Howe or any Newcastle player. I think Isak has cost you these points, if I'm being honest. And that's just because of how both games went. And Isak kind of, throwing his toys out the pram right now. So obviously, look, we'll see what happens. Obviously, deadline day on Monday. So we'll see, obviously, with Newcastle potentially getting a replacement, and we'll see if that speeds it up. But for me, in terms of the game, it was like I said, Liverpool. I thought it was a smash and grab for them. Look, I'll be honest, right? All of their 3 goals were quality. I mean, even the Rio one at the end, the dummy from Soboslai is great. All 3 of them were great goals, like really, really quality goals. And that's because Liverpool, they have quality forward players. But defensively, they need to fix up. And I'm hoping they fix up against Arsenal on Sunday. I don't want them losing against Arsenal.
Anfield as well.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's a difficult situation. Like I said, Newcastle, you guys can be proud of the fight. But then, you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it what could have been. If Isak wasn't throwing his toys out the pram, what could have happened? If you had 11 men, let alone if you had 11 men, what could have happened in that game? So unfortunately, it's a game where Newcastle can be proud of the performance, but they just kind of, it's a bit of a, what if situation. So it was a shame. It was a shame for you guys.
Yeah. And I think overall, I do think it was Isak that was probably the one that somewhat cost us. But obviously, we'll talk about a certain new striker, we are getting. And I think it will be announced probably later tonight or whatever. But yeah, general thoughts, 1 point in 6 heading into the Leeds game, which we'll talk about after the Man City Spurs game. Not a good start on paper. 1 point in 6.
To be fair, it is 2 tough games.
Yeah, like against teams that we historically don't have good records against. We're not that good away at Villa Park, and we're not that good against Liverpool ever, except if it was Wembley. If we played in Wembley, we beat them. Now,
it was 2 tough games, but like I said, just based on the way they went, it was a shame. We've kind of to only come away with 1 point from 6, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think that's pretty much all. And man of the match. I don't want to say one for Liverpool because I don't think it. But
no, I don't think it is a Liverpool.
I mean, you could say Rio just because he scored the winner. But in terms of Newcastle, it has to be Bruno Guimaraes.
I was gonna say Guimaraes. It has to look for me. It has to be a Newcastle player, no debate. I don't think you can give man of the match to any Liverpool player.
Yeah, to be honest. Actually, another name. Tino Livramento.
Yeah. Great performance.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. Very underrated player, actually, Livramento. Yeah. Can play both sides, left and right back. He's quick.
Yeah, played left back in this game.
Yeah. No, I like Livramento. Yeah, no, another good shout. So
yeah.
I'm unlucky, very unlucky for you guys. Hopefully you can bounce back, but look, Isak needs to that situation has to be sorted out. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. But yeah, we might as well move on. Manchester City 0, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Obviously, the wicked Tottenham decides to cast another spell on Manchester City. When both teams before this game were heading in with a very good sense of confidence for Man City 4-0 winners away at Wolves. Spurs, destroying bloody Burnley,
bloody Burnley
at the home stadium, but obviously this was away at the Etihad. Second half, I'll be honest, didn't offer much, but that first half, give me your thoughts.
Listen, like the title on my stream says, whatever way we look at it, we own Man City, and the Etihad is our playground. It's as simple as that. No, look, listen, jokes aside, I look, despite all of the kind of meltdown in the week about, Eze, that situation and the lack of signings, which was justified, I think. But even despite all of that, I did say that we would get something from this game. I predicted a 2-2 draw, but if you go back to the show, the first episode of Year of the Bird that we did, I said I would not be shocked if we won. I believe there is a chance we can draw or even win this game. And I knew it because not only are we Man City's bogey team, but also Thomas Frank has proven he can get results off Man City at Brentford.
I believe the first manager to win at the Etihad with 2 different clubs.
2 different clubs. Yep, that's right. That was a record that was broken after that game. So For me, look, take away the whole Man City thing about how we seem to have their number somehow, like every year. When I look at the game, it was, for me, a complete performance in the sense that that's how you have to play against Manchester City. I look at what we did when look, obviously, Man City are going to have more possession. They're going to try and dominate the game, pin us back, because they try and do that to every team. So it's not unusual in that sense. Thomas Frank knows how to set up defensively. That's what I like about Thomas Frank, is that he knows how to adapt and prepare for a game based on the opposition that we're playing. And yeah, Decky had, exactly. It was a shame that he couldn't play because I think he probably would have scored because he always does there. But anyway, yeah. Back four, not on the halfway line. Both fullbacks, as fullbacks, not inverted. And I said, our defence is our strongest part of the team. And it proved because City, apart from, you had that Marmoush chance, you had a couple of... Haaland towards the end of the first half. I didn't really think they created much. And Vicario didn't really have many saves to make. And what we did do really well was go and look at the first goal we scored. That, if you want to beat Man City, if you want to score against Man City, that is the exact type of goal you have to score against them. Because it was the same, flick on, ball in behind, Richarlison to Johnson. Obviously, back post Brennan. There's nothing more else to say. He got his customary tap in. Big up to the Bayern View. Big up to Liam joining the chat as well. And we went 1-0 up. And look, we didn't really create much at that point. But I thought that when we got the ball, we looked like we could do something. And that there's a difference between sitting back and just hoofing it, constantly hoofing it. It keeps coming back, that sort of thing. What we did is when we got the ball, we either kept it a bit, passed it around to try and take the sting out of City, or we would look to go forward and create an opportunity. And I really liked the game plan that we went with. And we were 2-0 up at half time. And I think a lot of that, yes, the City made a horrible mistake for the second goal. James Trafford playing out, I mean, it was terrific. What, horrific?
Terrific for you.
Terrific for us, yeah. But it was horrible from City, but it was our press. And that was another thing we did well. We weren't afraid to sort of press them and maybe leave a few gaps so we could put them under pressure. And that goal came from us pressing. Sarr, Richarlison, Palhinha obviously got the goal. And speaking of Palhinha, my man of the match, I'll say it straight away. Man of the match. For me, that was a true number 6's performance. He shielded everything. He covered every blade of grass. First and second half. Second half, obviously, we held our 2-0 lead. We didn't crumble. We didn't give them any gaps whatsoever, I thought. And Palhinha was a big part of that. And this is the difference. Our midfield last season, for a lot of last season, was sort of just sliced open with ease. And that was because we didn't... Obviously, we can talk about the tactics, but that was also because we didn't have a number 6. We didn't have any player in our team that was a natural number 6. Palhinha is that. Palhinha is a true number 6. I rated him really highly at Fulham. Obviously, at Bayern, they didn't play him. I said when we got him, it was a good signing. I was very happy with the signing. And for me, man of the match, easily man of the match. And overall, it was just a complete performance from us in the sense that we did exactly what we needed to do to get a result against Man City at the Etihad. And we went and did it. Another honourable mention is Kudus. Kudus, another one of our new signings. Kudus has looked really good, actually. He started his time at Spurs really well. Of course, got the 2 assists against Burnley. And look, Richarlison, I have to say it, look, as Ten will know, and a lot of you guys know, not a player I'm a fan of. But right now, whether it's a purple patch or whatever it is, right now he's playing well. And I don't think he's a player that you can drop, even with Solanke coming back. So for me, right now, and the way that Frank's setting us up, it's helping us get these results. And obviously, it's 2 clean sheets, it's 6 points. Obviously, we got a game tomorrow. I'm hoping that we don't slip up because I want us to make it 3 wins out of 3. Obviously, Bournemouth will be a tough game. But I think that if we put in a similar performance, I think that we have a good chance of hopefully winning that game. So, yeah, overall, the City game, very pleased. I just hope that, look, obviously, we're starting to hopefully get some signings in. And hopefully we can continue. I just hope that we keep it up. You know, Spurs often start the season well. We often have good starts to the season. So, I want to see us keep it up and be in a situation where, as the chairman wants to tell us, compete on all 4 fronts. So there you go. Look, happy. Look, the City game, very happy with the performance, very happy with the win, and hopefully we can build on it and put a run together, have some consistency. So, yeah, for me, a complete performance. The manager tactically got it spot on for me.
Yeah. My thoughts. I did see the first half. Second half, I was like, the game is done. I didn't watch second half, and I'm pretty sure there was really nothing. But that first half, I saw both goals in that game. Watching back as well. Richarlison.
By the way, our defense, I told everyone, Van de Ven and Romero, that is a proper partnership. When used correctly, when they're not used on the halfway line like Ange Ball was, when used correctly, that is a proper centre half pairing.
Yeah,
both top players.
Obviously, what do you call this? James Trafford was your man of the match, I would say.
Yeah, one of our James Trafford was one of our players. Yeah,
I'll be honest. When I think about it, should have been sent off. I'll be honest. I
forgot. Yeah, was it the handball or fat or whatever it was? I can't remember.
But literally, his body,
should have been sent off. Yeah,
Thigh as well. But to be honest, maybe you're happy he didn't get sent off because he played that very bad pass that led to the second goal. So maybe, But yeah, I think overall Tottenham were really good. I did predict 1-0 in that game. But yeah, Tottenham actually shout out Manchester City in the game.
Look, the Etihad, somehow we've always been their kryptonite. I don't know how, and if this is under multiple managers as well.
Compared to us, we're like Man City's BITCH, But I think overall good start for Spurs, unlike Newcastle at the moment. But
it's only 2 games.
It's only 2 games.
It's not getting there. I'm not getting carried away either way. I want to see us keep going. And as for Newcastle, I think that it's 2 games. There's a long way to go.
Yeah, and obviously we might have a different set of players. Maybe not this weekend because I think it's too late to register those certain players that both of our teams are going to get by the time it's after the international break. But my man of the match. I probably would say. Probably is Paulinho because he did score as well and he played really well. I'm not sure if he played super well, but I remember Pedro Porro.
Porro is one of my favorite players at Spurs, and I thought it was a solid. Look, obviously not. I've seen him have better performances, but it wasn't bad by any means. It was a solid performance.
Yeah, so I think overall every player at Spurs did really well. Kudus as well. But I'll go with Paulinho. But yeah, I think
as well. He's had a good start to the season. Look, he's a player that I've been a bit 50-50 on. He's potential hasn't really fulfilled it yet. But the start of this season, I've been very impressed with Sarr. He's played really well so far. So hopefully he keeps it up. Maybe this is the potential that he's finally fulfilling. Maybe.
Yeah. I think it would be really good to potentially talk about the big stories that happen. Not just for me yesterday, because obviously I got the news of a certain player joining us during literally the draw. As for Charlie, obviously he has his own news as well. Literally
finally
early today. But I guess we'll start with the one that's at least the most 1,000% sure, because the medical has been passed and all.
It's been announced now.
It is.
Yeah, it's been announced
on Twitter or whatever it is.
Just as we went live, Spurs have announced a new signing.
And I'm guessing Newcastle maybe later. But we'll start with Woltemade, or as I want to call him now, Voldemort. He is joining Newcastle United. He is a 6'7" striker from VfB Stuttgart. His record in the Bundesliga last season was 17 goals and 7 assists. But not, Stuttgart were not great in the Bundesliga, but just like we did, we won a trophy. They won a trophy. They won the DFB Pokal. That's why they're in.
You're signing winners.
Yeah, I mean, now we've signed another winner in our team, just like Alanga, because I don't remember. But yeah, my thoughts on this signing. I'll be honest. Now I feel a little bit more okay with letting Isak go. Whether that happens, I don't know.
Do you think this is linked to Isak? Do you think Woltemade? Because I know you guys want two strikers. Do you think
Yeah.
Woltemade is linked to Isak, or do you still need to get another striker for Isak to leave?
I feel like I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. In the next few days. Well, obviously we will. I would think he's more of the Isak guy. And as for the Callum Road, I mean, it would be fun if we keep both, or have Voldemade and have Isak still somehow. But I do think he is more of the Isak type of player or whatever. And to be honest, before Liam said it to us in that live draw show yesterday, I had no idea we were linked with him. But we put
it kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, like £65 million for Voldemade, which I think is roughly around the same we paid for Isak, or maybe higher than Isak when we got him at Sociedad. So look, Voldemade, not just 17 goals with Stuttgart last season, but he was the top goal scorer in the U21 European Championship with Germany, where Germany did lose to England again, which Liverpool did win. Liverpool is a champion as well. But yeah, I think overall, I would say I'm really happy with this signing. Like, if you want to ask me, who would I prefer having? Voldemade, Michael Jackson, or
Nicholas Jackson. No, he's going to Bayern. He's going to Bayern.
Yeah. So. And who's the other one we were? Oh, and Jürgen Strand-Larsen. I mean,
apparently Wolves don't want to sell him or something.
Yeah, I mean, we put in like 2 bids in back-to-back days, potentially even 3. I mean, he could still sign for us, but I don't really want him. I'll be honest. Former Celtic player as well, but yeah, I think overall, it's a really good signing, and big up to AD744. I guess I'll be on your stream in a few hours to talk about the Europa League and seeing how badly Celta will do. Cannot wait for that. But yeah, my thoughts on Voldemade. I mean, I'm excited. Obviously, we talked about the Bundesliga last season on our Around Europe show, and
his name was mentioned a lot, actually.
Yeah, and the fact that Bayern would keep on trying to get him, like as if he's like the number 9 for them, it kind of shows the level of quality. Because because I'm pretty sure Bayern weren't willing to sell Harry Kane, for example, so they would have had Voldemade and Harry Kane, but we took him under their noses, just like how we're going to talk about Xavi Simons in a bit. But Voldemade, we took him away. Not going a little bit south to Munich. He's coming all the way up north to Newcastle, whereby I know he did his whole media stuff, signed contract. Well, probably later tonight might be, or even early tomorrow might be the signing just before we play leagues. But he will. I'm 100% sure he's not playing.
Yeah, neither of our new signings can play because the deadline's like this morning.
For registration.
Yeah.
But of course, we will have them when international break comes back up. I'm not sure if Voldemade is in the Germany squad for the upcoming qualifiers.
He should be, because they don't have a lot of good strikers. So
yeah,
he should be.
They have Burkhardt, Kleindienst, who I both highly rate as well, both of them. But Voldemade, won the DFB Pokal, so he has the experience of winning trophies. I believe he also scored in that final. I know it was against Arminia Bielefeld.
Still a final.
Who scored, I believe, and won a trophy in the same year that both of our teams won a trophy. Something that Xavi Simons can't say from last season. But look, I'm excited about Voldemade. Looking forward to. Hopefully he does well. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, and by technicality, his first game, you would assume, would be the Wolves game, but that's after the international break. But we'll see who we have as strikers by the end of the window. But it's a signing that I'm excited for. This is, I think, finally, I'll be honest, the first signing since Sandro Tonali that I'm like, oh, yes,
It's been a while. It's been a
that
while.
excitement, you know. Um,
Yeah,
the
Voltemade, he's the way I see it is he's a very good player. Like he obviously you read out his numbers and his profile is good. He's tall and he's quick as well. Like he's kind of
he
like
could get on the end of those headers
yeah,
that we would
he's
deliver.
kind of like everything you. He's kind of like he's built like a proper like number 9 traditional striker, right? And
Yeah,
he's obviously very young. He has a lot of potential to get even better. I think he's suited to the Premier League with just his
23, I believe.
22, 23. Yeah, so he's still young. He's very tall, so he's a bit of a danger in the air as well. I like Voltemade. My only thing I would say is that I do think you've overpaid for him in the sense that
Yeah.
I mean, how's it 60? Did you say 65 million pounds?
Basically, I think it seems like it's roughly around the same price we got Isak.
Yeah. So the way I see it is, I think Isak was. I know he didn't have the best of seasons when you signed him, but I felt Isak had more. He had more kind of numbers behind him at the time.
Yeah.
Voltemade, it's only really been one season. That's the thing. So
I'm not sure if the season before, because when Stuttgart got second in the Bundesliga, I'm not fully sure.
I'm not sure, but it's obviously he broke it. Last season was his true sort of breakout season when everyone took note, basically. So in that sense, is he worth the money you've paid for him? Probably not, but at the same time, you know, it's not your money. It's not any Newcastle fans' money, so it doesn't really matter in that sense. So, but I'm just thinking, in terms of perspective of the club, you know, I think it's a gamble. You know, like I said, you can never be certain with Bundesliga strikers. You know, they don't always take to other leagues. You know, look at Timo Werner, look at Jovic, look at even Fulkrug at West Ham. You know, they don't. It doesn't always work out. So you have to even Sesko. Like I think Sesko, I think that's got flop written all over it. But I think Voltemade's numbers were better than Sesko's, and you got him for cheap. You got him for even cheaper than what Sesko was, and you were obviously looking at Sesko before. So I think Voltemade. Look, I think he's probably the better signing than Sesko, but I still think you need another striker, and that's on the basis that Isak leaves. But overall, in terms of taking away the money that you've paid, the whole Isak thing, Voltemade as a signing is a really good signing. And obviously Bayern wanted him, didn't happen. So I think, look, you've got a really good player there. And I think you're right. It's definitely a signing that you should be excited for. That's for sure. So for me, a good signing. Like I said, I think with Newcastle in terms of are they going to be in a good enough position striker-wise? I don't think we'll truly know until the end of the window.
Probably when we play Wolves.
Until deadline day. So but Voltemade on its own, solid signing. I think he's a player that has really good potential, and I think that already now he can come in and make a difference. So for Newcastle, as long as you guys obviously use him correctly, I think that's a good signing. Yeah,
I think obviously it depends on the remainder of the striker window for us, because I based on the reports I see from like Keith Downey and Craig Hope, who are the major Newcastle outlets for news and all that, still saying that we are looking at the second striker. If I had to say who we will get, I think what will happen.
I was going to ask you, because this is going to be the last year of the bird before deadline day.
Yeah.
What do you think will happen? Does Isak stay or go? And then if he goes, do you get someone in? Like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like,
I think I forgot when Liverpool played, but like over the weekend. Oh, they play Arsenal on a Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
I think we'll find out how that goes with them, because I do think they still need some, not just Isak, but more reinforcement defensively for Liverpool. But for us, I say there are like certain. I think there's 2 scenarios. I do not think we bring another striker and have 3 strikers, but I would love that. I would love that, to be honest. You know, 3 rotated strikers and all that. But I think the 2 possible options are Voltemade and Isak together, or Voltemade, Isak leaves, and we bring in a second striker. And I'm leaning towards the second one, which is Isak leaves, Voltemade is with us. And in terms of who that second striker will be, just based on how much he really wants us, I will just say Jon Visser.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I might. I
I
guess
reckon you might get him event. I know they've been rejecting bids, but I feel like
I think
you
it's
might. I think
60
you might
million
get him
pounds.
in the end.
I think we'll put in a bid probably after the Leeds game. So I don't know how we're going to play striker or whatever, or just play Osula. But
Yeah, Osula will have because obviously Gordon's suspended.
he's our top goal scorer,
Yeah, Osula.
One goal.
Yeah, you'll have to put Osula up front.
But
so.
what do you call this? I do think we will. I feel like out of the striker market or the names we've been mentioned, which I think is Strand Lawson and Rissa, I think we'll get Rissa. Do I think we'll make it to the 60 million? I think Brentford quoting us. I say we put in 55 million pounds plus some add-ons or whatever to reach 60 million or whatever. I think that's what will happen. Probably, I mean, I would love it to be today, but I think we'll get.
I reckon you'll get. My feeling is you'll get Visser on deadline day.
Yeah,
and I think Isak might leave on deadline day. Big up to a couple of guys in the chat. Big up to El Said. Big up to we got Rops as well. So yeah, look, happy to see you guys in the chat. Big up.
Yeah.
Every single time. But yeah, no, that's kind of my feeling. What will happen? I reckon there's going to be this whole deadline day thing with Isak.
Oh yeah, I think
Visser going to Newcastle.
I think that would be the domino effect because I believe Brentford. Very off topic. Brentford are looking at Maximilian Bayer.
Dortmund, yeah, Dortmund striker, yeah,
for 45 million. That I know has been announced as a potential. So who knows? So I think that's probably going to happen. Voldemade and Rissa.
I mean, who else would you bring in? Is there any other positions that you think you need to bring players in before the end of the window?
I think now. I mean, of course, I would love more, but I think it's only strikers now.
Only striker, because I think you need to strengthen. I think you I know you got Ramsey as another midfielder. I reckon obviously you got Tiao. I think you need another right back or left back. I think you need another full back. I think.
Yeah, I mean Matt Target is not really the solution, and he's been along to Middlesbrough. But I think we'll just make one signing. It's like Rissa, Isak. I think that's what happens. But who knows? Maybe we get Mbappe, or Lamine Yamal, or some.
Oh man.
We will get Lamine Yamal. We talked about Champions League draw.
Yep.
You guys can watch back as well. We did at the start of this show. Timestamps will be included at the end. But yeah, I'm thinking we're getting Rissa and selling Isak. How much for Isak? I think Liverpool would put in 125, and I think it will be accepted.
I reckon they'll bid more. I reckon because I don't know. I just have a feeling because you're signing like Woltemade and stuff, and
around both of Rissa and Woltemade around one.
I reckon Liverpool because they're talking. I read a report. There's reports saying the doors open. Like Newcastle are more willing to listen now. Yeah. I reckon Liverpool might put in a big bid. I reckon this could happen. Rops, big up. Yeah, I mean. If you can remind me who you are, because I'm not sure. I feel like I should remember you, but I don't. But big up to you every single time. So if you could tell me, that would be good. Yeah, big up to Rops for your comments. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens for Newcastle.
Yeah. It could be what you call this, Voldemade, Rissa, W. Maybe more W's for Newcastle.
You guys need some W's. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean we haven't had one since Chelsea. Last season, he's like pushing really hard. You don't even want...
exactly that's why I think you guys might give in because he's causing a nuisance at the club at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's what will happen. We let Isak go. We get Rissa, which I think is the most sensible over Strand Lawson because usually Eddie Howe would like to slowly integrate players.
Yeah,
we saw with Tonali, Bruno way back when. Isak somewhat back then. So I think getting Rissa, who has that Premier League experience, was really good last season. I think if we get Rissa with Voldemade and Isak leaves, I think Rissa starts that game after the international break against Wolves, which I think should be a W. But yeah, I mean, enough talk about some strikers, even though Spurs are probably not getting a striker, but they are getting a creative midfielder, I believe.
Yep.
Right,
And number 10.
Just like how we did with Bayern, took Voldemort under them. You guys are getting Xavi Simons or
Xavi Simons. Yep. Look, 10. I'm buzzing with this signing. I'll talk about what else I think we need to do from now to the end of the window. But finally, we've got a number 10. It's taken them so long. Obviously, the whole Eze stuff happened, which I went on a massive rant about last week. But Xavi Simons is a Tottenham player now. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty shocked in a good way, in the sense that Xavi Simons is a quality player. Xavi Simons is one of the highest rated number 10s in Europe. He is still only 22. It feels like he's been around for a while. He obviously came through La Masia, Barcelona, was at PSG as well. And at Leipzig, he's really kind of broken out. He's kind of become, the fulfilling his potential, if you like. He's kind of become this all-action creative midfielder, brilliant on the ball, can get goals, can get assists. I've always rated Xavi Simons. I've always liked him. But the reason I say I'm shocked is because, first of all, Chelsea are in for him. And I thought that it looked like Chelsea were going to get it done.
Time, like 2 months.
Yeah, it looked like it was heading that way. When I saw the news originally that Spurs were in for Xavi Simons, I laughed it off. I was like, no way, not a chance we would ever sign, especially with Chelsea in the race, but also I just could never see us signing a player like Xavi Simons. And what I mean by that is Xavi Simons, he's one of, he's sort of like a little, not superstar. He's not really a superstar yet, but he's sort of
the Eriksen replacement, but Eriksen of long time. That's
why
I
think Maddison was the Eriksen replacement, but obviously Maddison's injured, so we need another number 10. Like us, Xavi Simons, he's a big name. Everybody knows who Xavi Simons is, and rightly so, because Xavi Simons he's an extremely talented player. He's a player that's already good now and can get even better. We're getting a player that's not only young, but can get even better, and the longevity is there with his age and everything. He's still got a long time left in his career and everything. This is a fantastic signing. I'm shocked that we've got him. I didn't think this board would do it, but they have done it. And yes, it was desperation. Would we have done this earlier in the window? No, I still believe that we wouldn't. And big up. I remember thfc Max. Big up. Yeah, big up to you every single time. Yeah, I remember back in the day. Yeah, like I said, I didn't see us going for someone like Xavi Simons. Not only because of the fee and to be fair, the fee, it's only about £50 million, which it's really cheap for, if you look at the current market now with how much players are going for. With a player of, elite quality like Xavi Simons.
At that position as well.
Yeah, that position, for 50 million, it's a great deal. And like I was saying, the wages as well. I always talk about this. Our wage structure is one of the lowest in the Prem. But apparently, we've gone and put Xavi on 200 grand a week. And this is what we should be doing. This is what I've called for us to do, especially now that Son, our highest earner, has left. We should be making the wage structure better. We should be, forget new signings for a minute, we should be paying our existing players more money. I mean, Van der Ven's only on 40 grand a week. You should, when you consider how much a lot of these football players
made goal line saving clearance.
Exactly. When you consider how much football players are on now, Van der Ven and many other players as well should be on a lot more money than that. Listen, Xavi Simons, yeah, he can play left wing, can play in the 10. For me, definitely his best position is in the 10.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of this signing. A true kind of quality number 10. They're very different in terms of their age and obviously their experience, but a lot of fans would argue that Simons is better than Eze. And I think they have a point. I'm not really going to compare them because they're at different stages in their careers. But Eze's Prem proven, so he has that over Simons. But what I will say is that Simons definitely has the talent to be not even just as good, but even better than Eze. And even now, he's there. He's on the same, if not higher than somebody like Eze. Just based on pure talent-wise. Simons is that good. Like, for people that have watched him, obviously his goals and assists that he gets from the number 10 are pretty decent numbers. But his ability on the ball, he's just a great player to watch. Every time I've watched Xavi Simons, it's really just, for me, obviously as a neutral, because he until now hasn't played for a team that I support. But I'm always entertained whenever I've watched Xavi Simons for Leipzig, even for the Netherlands. I've seen him, always great to watch. And I never thought we'd get a player like that. I'll be really honest. I never thought. Xavi Simons. He's a big personality for his age. For kind of where he is in his career, and rightly so, because he's a really good player and he's got all of the ability in the world. I just didn't see our club going for him, but we've gone and got him. And look, yes, like I said, it was out of desperation. Like, we would not have done this earlier in the window, but it's it's better late than never. And Xavi Simons is a Tottenham player, and I'm delighted with it. Obviously I really wanted Eze. As you guys know, I went on a massive rant when it didn't happen. Obviously Arsenal coming in and everything. But Simons, this has me, in terms of, forget other signings for a minute. As an isolated signing, the signing of Xavi Simons has me just as excited as I would have been if we had signed Eze as an isolated signing. That's kind of the feeling I get from this signing. It's a top signing. He's a top player. He'll slot right into that team. I can see Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank is good at getting the most, especially forward players. Thomas Frank is good, especially when it comes to attacking players. And I think Xavi Simons can get even better. And it will be interesting to see how he takes to the Premier League. Of course, we know the whole Bundesliga tax thing. But look, Xavi Simons, he came through La Masia. These players that come through La Masia are often good players. Let's have it right. So, listen, I'm so happy. I'm really. This is the most excited I've been for a signing individually for a while, to be honest. And we needed it. Look, obviously, me and a lot of fans, and rightly so, we're getting frustrated. The Levy and the board being the way they are. And look, my opinion has not changed on them. One signing is not gonna change my opinion on them. But we finally got someone. We needed it because the frustration was a lot. It was really irritating the way they were operating this window. And it was just nice, to have not only a signing out of nowhere almost, but, a player of the quality of Xavi Simons. So for me, I'm buzzing with this signing. I can't wait to see him play. Obviously, he won't play on the weekend, but after the international break, hopefully he'll be ready to go for us. And look, we got him over Chelsea. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that we'd get him over Chelsea? And yes, my channel is Charlie's Take. It is on my tag once it comes back there. So yeah, big up to Robs once again. But yeah, we've got him ahead of Chelsea. And I thought, look, that is a player that I could have seen Chelsea get. But also, for whatever reason, they didn't go for him. And that gave us an opportunity, as this club likes, to go and get Xavi Simons. So 10, just, yeah, I know I might be repeating myself, but I'm just, yeah, this is a signing that finally brings me some joy. And what I will say is, look, this window, yes, we haven't done enough. I still think we need a winger and a centre back before the window closes. But the players we have brought in for once are actually, players that go into the team. Kudus, Paulinho, now Simons. All three go straight into our team. All three start for us and can make an impact. Two of them have already. Simons, no doubt, I think, can do the same. And that's the thing. Like I keep saying, up until this point, I didn't believe we had done enough. But individually, the players we have brought in have been good, and they've been much better than, usually what we end up with. So, look, we'll see who else we get in. But in terms of Xavi Simons, delighted. Outside of Eze, if I could pick, somewhat realistic number 10, you could say, even though I didn't think Xavi Simons was realistic. When people were talking about Xavi Simons, because even obviously nothing concrete, but our fans were, saying, oh, we should get Xavi Simons at the start of the window. I was like, there is no way we would be able to get Xavi Simons. Yes, I know we're in the Champions League. Yes, I know we've just won a trophy, but I just felt we wouldn't pay the wages. And I feel like Xavi Simons would have multiple clubs. And that, look, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. I felt like Xavi Simons would have gone to a club in a much better position than Spurs right now. So all of that considered, the fact that we've got him, I'm shocked, but in a good way. And I can't wait to see Xavi Simons. So for me, one of the most exciting signings I think we've made under Daniel Levy. I know the bar's really low. I know Levy, hasn't really given us much joy in the transfer market, but this one is up there with the likes of Van der Vaart, when we signed Son. I'm not saying it's on that level, but just in terms of the player, the stature of Xavi Simons, it's close. It is close. So I'm delighted with this signing. So yeah, everyone in the chat, in the comments, let me know your thoughts. Spurs have signed Xavi Simons as our number 10. Finally, we've got a number 10 through the door. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let's hope that Xavi Simons can come in and take well to Thomas Frank, to Spurs, to the Premier League and everything. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a very good signing for Tottenham with getting Xavi Simons. That's how I'm going to call it. Simons. That's
the fun, with Simons, do you know what was really funny? All this time, I always found it funny that he always looks like he's crying.
Yeah,
yeah. Now he's my player. Like,
yeah. Especially when Newcastle destroy you 6-1 or something later.
Oh man, if we lose a game, like he'll I don't know. Yeah, he'll look like he's crying.
But
also, go ahead.
But yeah, I think it's a very good signing. I think it's probably, I don't know if there's ever been an exciting Tottenham signing. Probably with Charleston.
Nah.
I don't know.
I'll tell you this. The last player that I felt the same sort of excitement was probably Romero. Because obviously I watched Romero in Serie A. Romero was the one. Obviously, look, I know we got Van der Ven, we got Porro. I'd say Porro, yeah. Porro was one I knew I really wanted Porro. I'd say Porro I was really excited for. I love Porro. And Romero. So, yeah, probably the most excited I've been since Porro or Romero, I would say.
Yeah.
But like I said, we don't get these signings very often under Daniel Levy. So that's why it probably feels more exciting to me compared to others. But look, ultimately, I still think we need more this window. Look, right now, the players, 3 players we've signed now. Obviously, look, Kota Takai, he's a young prospect. So you could say 4. That's more of a club signing. But if you look at first team signings, Palhinha, Kudus, Simons now. 3 very good signings, but I still think we need a left winger. And yeah, Rops is right. He's taken the number 7. It's a big number to fill the boots of Son. It's massive. So we'll see if he kind of can take to that. But in terms of what we need a winger. We need a direct replacement for Son. And look, obviously you can't replace Son. We're talking about Son here. But you need to bring in players that make up for it, like Xavi Simons plus, a left winger, for example. And obviously they've spoken about Savio. I don't think that's going to happen. I would have loved Savio, to be honest. Yeah. But the one I really want, and I think that his name has been mentioned a bit, is Lookman, because Lookman is available. And Lookman is a top. I've always rated Lookman at Atalanta. If we can bring in Lookman on the left, that would be ideal for me. If we can't get Savinho, we have to go and get Lookman. They're talking 50 million euros. For a player of that quality, again, that's a good deal. For someone like Daniel Levy, he should be willing to pay money for a player like that. Plus, we need a centre back as well. I think we need a left back more, but it seems they're looking at a centre back that can play left back. So if we're going to do that, obviously with Dragusin still being injured, Vuskovic has just gone on loan. So we probably do need a bit more cover there. So I'd like to see a centre back come in. There was talk about Akanji today from City, which, look, as a backup, I'd be okay with. I think that the last season, I don't think he had his best season. Before he was good, he was great. When he first came in at City, I thought he was great. But Akanji, everyone knows the Akanji, you know what you're going to get of Akanji. I would take Akanji. The other one mentioned was another City defender, Ake. Look, these rumours are sort of they're just rumours at the moment. But Ake, to be fair, if we're going to get any City centre back, I would probably take Ake over Akanji because Ake can play at left back. And I think, we've only got one left-sided centre back. We've only got Van der Ven. He's the only left-sided centre back we have. So I'd probably, if we're going to get another centre back, I'd probably want it to be a left-sided one. So we'll see. But yeah, like I said, very happy with the signing of Simons. But I still think we need 2 more players this window if we're not going to be left short, I think. So, yeah. And look, exactly. Well, look, I don't know what Lookman's wages are like, but yeah, exactly. He's homegrown. You know, we have this, everyone talks about this problem we have with the homegrown quota. Lookman, obviously, because we're not going to get Eze. Lookman now would help solve that now instead of Eze. Lookman could come in and solve that problem. So I hope we get Lookman. Lookman, outside of Savinho, Lookman would probably be my first choice. And at centre back, yeah, I would take somebody like Ake or Akanji. I would take as a backup. I would take. So let's see. But you know, look, I'm not going to get carried away. You know, Levy is still my chairman, but Xavi Simons, yes, the signing I think was out of desperation with just how desperate we were getting in the window, but it's a top signing and I'm delighted with it. So hopefully we get a couple more in. I'm not holding my breath because we always are left short by at least 1 or 2 every window. But let's see. You know, if I didn't think we had any chance at signing Xavi Simons, so that at least that might give me a bit of hope that we might get these other players in. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, Xavi Simons, that definitely made me feel a lot better. That's for sure from the whole Eze thing.
Yeah, I mean, good signing, as I said. Now it is time to, I guess we would say, preview our games. I guess because we're already still in the topic of Tottenham, even though Xavi Simons is not playing. You guys will play first on the weekend, even though it's just like a couple hours before us. But it's Tottenham Hotspur at the Newcastle ownership ground versus Bournemouth. Obviously, Bournemouth, I believe, have picked up a win and a loss. Obviously, they played Liverpool, I remember, but I forgot who they had. Bournemouth.
They beat Wolves last week, 1-0.
So, you know, pretty good start for Tottenham's opponents, but obviously Spurs have yet to concede a goal in the 2 games so far, even though one of them was against Burnley. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the previewing of this game?
Good news is we've got a doggy back from injury. Even though I think Spence will play, but it's good that we've got a doggy back. I think when he's fit, I know Spence has done quite well, but for me, when he's fit, I think a doggy is the starter at left back. So that's good news. Obviously, we're going to have.
I saw Dragushin is back in training.
In training, but I think he'll be a while. I mean, he got an ACL injury in January, so it will probably be a while. But in terms of this game, look, it's going to be an interesting game. I think that Bournemouth are. Look, I know they've been a bit inconsistent. I mean, they beat Wolves 1-0 when Wolves went down to 10 men, which I guess wasn't amazing. But against Liverpool, look, they came back from 2-0 down. They did lose 4-2 in the end, but it just shows, Semenyo, as Rops mentioned, Semenyo is a quality player. He was somebody that we were linked with. And I think that, for me, clearly, Bournemouth's best player. Obviously, they've got their whole defense ripped out of them in the summer. Hoyson, Zabani, Kirkez, all leaving. They've signed Diakite. I think they're looking at another centre-back, I believe, as well. I don't know if he'll be coming in for this game or not. But
Dango Otara, who
went to Brentford
in the last minute a few years ago, just before you played us 6-1. I remember.
Solanke scored in that game. And then, obviously, he joined us. But, yeah, Bournemouth's a tough game. Iriola's a manager I rate. I really rate. I've said that I think one day he'll get a move to, look, with all due respect, he'll get a move to a bigger club than Bournemouth, Iriola. It's a tough game. It's not an easy game. Obviously, last season, we didn't beat them. We lost at their ground and drew at our ground. And yeah, it's big up to Rob. Yeah, look, I mean, there's been worse since then. The whole Ryan Mason debacle when we did lose 6-1 to Newcastle that period. But
I think Stellini,
well, both. I don't even know. But anyway, it's going to be a tough game. They've got some very good players, Bournemouth. But I think when I've looked at the way Spurs have played, I think we can beat Bournemouth. The good thing for us is they're not a team that's going to stink it out, put everybody behind the ball. Because look, I know we've just signed Simmons, but he's not going to play in this game. So we still don't have a number 10. Against teams like City, we can probably get away with it because they're going to leave space. But against certain teams at home, from lower down the table, they're going to come and stink it out. And those are the games where we need a number 10. Against Bournemouth, though, look, Bournemouth aren't really that team. I don't know, maybe Iriola will adapt just for this game, maybe, but they're not really that team. And yeah, Tavernier as well. He's another decent player. Tyler Adams, by the way, he's a really underrated player. I really like Tyler Adams. He's a true number 6. I think every time I've watched Adams, he's put in a good performance. So Adams is another one. I rate Adams highly. For me, an underrated player. I don't think people talk about him enough. So it's not going to be easy, but with the start we've made, based on what I've seen from us, I think we can win this game. I think that we did the job on City. Obviously, Burnley was a comfortable win. I don't think it'll be as comfortable as Burnley or anything, but I think if we set up, Thomas Frank, this is the good thing about Thomas Frank. We don't know what he's going to do. He's unpredictable. He sets up based on the opposition. That's the thing I like about him. So it's hard to really say what exactly we're going to do in this game. But I think whatever it is, I'm hoping we have enough to win. Look, players, our forward players, whatever I think of them, are scoring goals right now. And I think I'll go for the win. Look, in my predictions, the YouTube short I said 2-1 Spurs. And I'll stick with it. I reckon we'll just win it. I think being at home, the fact we're at home, I think will play a part in this. And I think that with the way we've been defending, especially under Frank, I reckon we might be able to just edge it, I reckon. So I think it'll be a close game. I don't think we're going to batter them or anything. But they'll definitely come. They'll give us a game, that's for sure. But I reckon we edge it. I think there's momentum with 2 wins, no goals conceded. And I think we might concede in this one. But it'd be nice to get another clean sheet. So I'll go 2-1. 2-1 Spurs. And hopefully we get a 3rd win in a row, hopefully. So, yeah, difficult game. But I think it's a winnable game, I think. And I think that we should hopefully be getting 3 points in this game. So we'll see. But yeah, 2-1 Spurs is my prediction for this game.
Yeah. I think.
How do you see it?
For me, with Spurs, obviously, so far been impressed with them. I did say you'll make top 6. I think I said 6.
I said we'd finish 8th. So look, it's still the thing is it's still early. I'm praising us a lot because of the way we've played, but for everyone watching, I'm not getting carried away. I've been here so many times. I'm not gonna be like a lot of our fans where they're like, yeah, we're winning the quadruple now, we're gonna do this. No, I'm just taking it game by game. I'm just basing it off what I've seen so far.
Yeah. My thoughts, I do think Spurs are probably in the better position. I do think maybe Bournemouth were somewhat unlucky against Liverpool, but I think a little bit more fortunate against Wolves and all that. Obviously, they lost Dango Ouattara to Brentford as well. But yeah, a lot of changes at Bournemouth. But I think at Spurs, even without Xavi Simons playing in this game, I do think Spurs will get a win. I'll probably go with 2-0. I think maybe the defense will continue being solid for this game. And I do think that Spurs will get a win here. Yeah, big up to Wops as well for joining, or thfc Matt, I believe. I think that's his name. But yeah, that's my prediction for Tottenham Bournemouth. So we're both going with wins. I'm saying the clean sheet win. But yeah, and the other game of for both of us, this time it's Newcastle. We are away at Leeds United. Obviously, we talked about Newcastle, but in terms of Leeds, the first 2 games, or you can say 3 games because they did play in the Carabao Cup. What do you call this? Their first game was at home against Everton, and they won that 1-0. Bit of a boring game, I remember, but
that was never a pen, by the way. That penalty they got to win, that was a stupid decision. Yeah, that was a horrible call from the.
And then the week after, 5-0 loss away at Arsenal, which I'll be honest was a bit expected. Just considering how.
Yeah, but listen, now we're hearing so first there was the We Hijacked Eze trophy. Now it's the We Beat Leeds 5-0 trophy, and Gyökeres scored trophy. That's the trophy that, look, you believe a double's already been won. Who would have thought a double this early in the season? The hijacked Eze trophy and the We Beat Leeds 5-0 trophy. Who would have thought?
Yeah. And obviously they played in midweek leagues, and they bottled it to probably the worst or second worst championship teams, and had Leeds progressed, they would have played the mighty Grimsby. So, in an alternate universe, Man United and Leeds would have actually met.
Yeah. Obviously, that's a bit of a rivalry, isn't it? So
yeah. Whereby I think Leeds are the better of the two. But it is Wednesday against Grimsby. Tough game for Wednesday. But as for Leeds, they did get knocked out on penalties by Sheffield Wednesday. I think.
By the way, Calvert-Lewin might be the worst striker I've ever seen.
Oh God! Now that you said that,
oh yeah,
he actually does have a good record against us, I believe, when he was at Everton and all. I'm just saying. But my thoughts on this game, look, I think there's a whole lot of change in this particular game. I think after the international break, it does get better, I feel like. This game, I'm not super confident, but I would love a win. But in terms of the team, I think there's going to be a few changes to the team. Goalkeeper, Pope, okay. Back four, I believe Fabian Schär is out because of a concussion in that Liverpool game. So I would assume it'll be Malik Chow that will be coming in, but the rest of the back line will remain the same. I think Trippier starts right back, Livramento left, Chow and Dan Burn center back pairing. So first time we're seeing Chow start the game, I would assume he's the starting center back because I do think Botman, just give him the rest, give him the time. So I don't think Botman starts, but I wouldn't be sad if he starts. In terms of the midfield, there is going to be a change, or even two changes. Tonali, it seems like he could be back. Obviously, it seemed like he dislocated his shoulder. I think I'm fine with any player getting, well, obviously not fine with any player getting injured, but the one I do not want to see out is Tonali because I think he makes our team a lot better. But there is some reports, I guess, that he might be able to make this game, but some are saying probably not. It depends. The one I'm pretty sure is not playing is Joe Wellington, who got, I believe, a hamstring. Not sure how long that is, but he did get called up to Brazil, the national team, by Don Carlo. Seems like he probably won't make it to the qualifiers, and Brazil already qualified, so who cares? I think midfield, I think we'll see Jacob Ramsey play in that sort of Joe Linton sort of spot or that sort of Willock spot. Bruno Guimaraes probably as a number 6 if Tonali is out. I don't know how we're going to set up, I'll be honest.
Yeah, if you have these injuries in midfield, that's a bit of an issue,
Yeah, but I still think we're quality-wise, we're better than Leeds. But, it's Leeds, and we don't have a good record since they've been up in the 6 games that Leeds have been up from the Prem long back when. In the 6 meetings, we only won once against them in 6 of those Premier League games.
To be fair, a lot of those were under Steve Bruce. So
yeah, even under Eddie Howe. Which was actually 4 of those games. 1 win in 4, basically.
Oh, okay.
But I believe all of them were draws. The season they got relegated, we got a 0-0 at home, 2-2 at their ground, I remember. But yeah, not a good recent record against Leeds, but hopefully it changes. But I do think in terms of the attack, again, no Gordon.
Yeah, what are you guys going to do? This is
Osula. Oh, I mean, yeah, I would assume that might be the one left wing, Harvey Barnes, right wing, Elanga, I guess, but you could see Jacob Murphy playing. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Jacob Murphy midfield and Elanga right wing. I don't know. But because it could even be Joe Willock midfield. Joe Willock, Bruno Guimaraes, and Jacob.
What about Lewis Miley? That's an
Oh yeah, maybe he did.
Lewis Miley, yeah.
He played the Liverpool game, so maybe it might be Bruno Guimaraes, Miley, and Jacob Ramsey midfield, and then
because of Gordon suspended, we're not going to see Gordon Ramsey.
Oh yeah, yet. Well, guess when we will get that.
Gordon Ramsey
against Arsenal when
Gordon Ramsey's time to cook.
At St. James's against Arsenal, but that'll be whenever that happens. But yeah, In terms of leagues, I think they played a little bit of a rotated team, I believe, because I do think they're not taking that Carabao Cup seriously, unlike us, because we do have a trophy. We are defending it. But I think overall, my feeling is I'm not confident of a win. I wouldn't be surprised if we win, just because it's league's not that good right now. Um, I do think I hope it's not lost, but I could see a draw. Probably like a 1-1 draw, something like that, whereby, again, the quality of our attack might be a little bit undone, and Leeds could just sit back. But if they play like the, Super Bowl and trying to be very expensive, I do think we would win. If they play that sort of attack football, I don't think they will. I think they'll be a little bit more sensible considering that Arsenal game that they had 5-0. So I'm a little bit worried, somewhat. So I'll go with a 1-1 draw. I could see Leeds taking the lead. Probably Dominic Calvert-Lewin if he starts.
Yeah, I've probably jinxed it, haven't I?
Yeah. And to get the equalizer, why not? Maybe Malik Chow. Who knows? If he does play as one of the centre-backs, maybe as a set-piece goal, something like that, or Dan Burn. But I'll go with a 1-1 as my prediction for Leeds Newcastle. But hopefully we win. But we'll see. And for you?
I think that, look, having those issues in midfield isn't great. I think that if you put Bruno in the 6th, it's also not great because you want Bruno in the 8. Like, you don't want to waste him in the 6th. But I guess if you have injuries, like, you kind of might have to do that. Listen, I think the way you played against Liverpool should give you encouragement for a game like this away at Leeds, who, they're going to be battling relegation this season. They're obviously lost 5-0 against Arsenal. Yeah. I look at Leeds. I don't really think they've got enough goals up front. I mean, their strikers are Calvert-Lewin and
I saw Patrick Bamford got sacked.
Yeah, Bamford has been released or whatever it was. But obviously they have Gnonto, who I like Gnonto from when he was at Italy, but he just hasn't fulfilled the potential that I thought he had. You got Dan James, good old that mighty. You see what I mean? There's just not enough quality going forward for them. And I reckon that defensively, I think you'll have enough to deal with them. And I think you'll get a couple of goals from somewhere. I reckon you'll win 2-0. I think it will be... I mean, look, you saw Arsenal put 5 past them last week. I reckon that with you guys, if you can get...
That was with...
we don't talk.
We don't have... We're likely not going to have this anymore.
No.
But we might... I think this is a celebration. What do you call this?
Woltemade. Against Leeds, though, I think that... I know you're not going to have a lot up front, but I think you'll have, you have players that, against a team like Leeds. You have people like Barnes can score against a team like Leeds. Alanga can score against a team like Leeds. So you should still be able to find... I reckon your defence will obviously be the main factor, obviously keeping the clean sheet. But I reckon you'll find a couple of goals from somewhere. I think Leeds defensively, it's not the best. Obviously they let in 5 last week. So I just think I'm not saying you're going to completely dominate the game or anything. I think it might be quite even for a while, but I think maybe last 20 minutes or so, you'll find a goal and then they'll open up and you'll get a second. I think so. I'm gonna go for Newcastle to get their first win of the season. I'm gonna go for a 2-0 Newcastle in this game.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm kind of hoping for, but yeah, I guess that's basically it for the show. Not as long as I thought. I was thinking it would have been 2 hours.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Obviously, we both got the main news, and obviously we are doing this show back on Thursday because it is.
Yeah, guys, for those that are new, this show would usually be on Thursdays. We just had to move it this week because of the Champions League draw.
And actually, to be honest, it's a good decision we moved because Xavi Simons and Woltemade have been
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So
good one.
Yeah, so hopefully, next week this for La Pina Rosa as well. That was also moved this week for obviously the Newcastle Liverpool game. Next week, that show will be on Monday, and this show will be on Thursday next week. So from next week, the schedule will be back to normal. So subscribe and turn notifications on both channels so you don't miss any of these shows. Make sure you're doing that if you haven't already.
Yeah, and obviously, it's probably not going to be a long show next week. Somewhat. Actually, no, we'll see because it's obviously international break. and all that. I don't know if I'll do any watch-alongs. Maybe, I don't know, something like that. I'll see. Whoever looks good and all. And literally right now, for anyone that really cares, the B team of Real Madrid Castilla are playing Lugo right now.
Oh, Lugo, nice.
And, so Forza Lugo, But yeah, that's basically it from both of us. Was a really good show. Obviously, the second episode or whatever. Third episode back on Thursday at the same time, 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. UK time, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to it, and obviously in the next 24 hours, we'll find out when and where we're playing our Champions League games. Like which specific weeks.
Which order, yeah.
And whether you play Bodo Glimt just before you play Leeds.
Probably. At least it's not Kairat. That's even further away.
Yeah, I mean, Real Madrid.
Yeah.
All the way there. But yeah, that's it from us, and we will see you guys in the next